thing I believe actually is simply to think about the composition of our task force to begin with, which is very beautiful. I mean, diverse.
Interesting, yes.
Northern America, Asia, Africa.
Yeah.
Do we have anyone from Europe?
I think there's one from South America.
South America,
Yeah.
correct, yes.
Yeah.
Someone from Europe is missing.
Yes. Elias.
Elias is
Come
from
in.
Europe, yeah, you're right. Of course, yes.
Don't forget our chair.
Sorry, sorry about
Yeah.
that. But it's good because now Europe is becoming marginal to some extent, right? In the sense that Elias is the only one,
Exactly.
and all these ideas that
We are now the majority.
I hope so.
Not necessarily.
But look at the conversation we had yesterday about the immersion.
That's right.
Who has the need for immersion? They are coming to immerse themselves in our cultures. Why can't it be the other way around?
You know, as I listen to you, it seems like it's a continuing experience of yesterday's task force presentation of Father John. I'm really, for me, it's a continuing learning from insights from various people, but including such yours. This whole idea of, it's like a reversal.
Oh, yes.
A reversal of ideas or movement of ideas. So it's the North coming to the South.
Yes.
To know about context,
Yes,
specifically
yes.
how they can implement the idea of preferential option for the poor. What do you think of that?
I hope it is not simply a very superficial encounter. I hope we can make it something really powerful, profound, deep.
Yeah.
And I think this is the challenge that the Pope has been putting to the whole church, to the whole world, by the way.
Right.
If you read Laudato Si, for instance,
Right.
it's like, hey, the culture we're living in is very shallow, and the whole idea of technology, we are meeting each other, but we are not encountering each other.
Exactly.
And so when we organize these immersion programs,
Right.
my hope, at least, or my wish would be that we really give our students the possibility to encounter cultures,
Yes.
to encounter the other as the other as a person, human
Right,
being,
right.
not just the idea of coming for a few days, patronizing, remaining in your bubble, and then you go back and you become an expert on
Right,
Africa.
right.
Simply because you spent 10
Yes,
days in
yes,
Africa.
yes. I know.
Yeah, so I hope our Jesuit universities will have to think a different model of immersion. And I don't know what Ateneo or...
But that's a very good point, Zant, because if you recall, yesterday we were looking at, we asked the question, are our youth capable of feeling compassion? But then we were able to answer that. But on top of that, today's keynote by Mishra provides a very interesting insight about the role of the youth. I mean, you cannot just put them aside and think that they are just youth and they are just this Instagrammers or bloggers, but they're powerful agents. So I don't know, what is your sense to that kind of thinking?
It is a powerful thinking, and I think I have many experience working with the youth, a lot of experience, and I've seen youth challenging our model institutions and the whole past, because the youth are the new field, I believe, for the margins, if you will. And we need to reach out to them, to listen to their thirst, to listen to what they really long for, and say, hey, maybe we need to begin to reshape our own understanding of values, cultures, and everything else, so that we can integrate them or be driven by them. There is one author I like very much, who maybe you're familiar with Khalil Gibran.
Oh, Khalil Gibran, yes,
Khalil
of course,
Gibran.
yes.
Yeah, when he talks about the children who belong to the house of the future, it is the same thing for us to know that the youth are driving us into a different world that will be theirs. They have to shape it, and we are here to help them shape it in a way that will remain cohesive and will carry on with the values that we believe in.
Do you still get to teach the youth in your university?
I do have many youth in my school, although the population actually is diverse. I mean, the student body is diverse, but I have students from, say, age 24.
24, yeah.
All the way to 40.
Yes.
And it is always challenging to listen to how they view the world.
I know.
Yes,
I know.
Yes.
But it's interesting because in today's keynote, there's this idea that they're just so full of energy.
Yes.
it is this energy that makes them to think about extreme things that are taboo maybe to
Yeah.
our generation, but they have like probably been bold enough to break barriers, and that is what's interesting about this segment of the population.
Does it remind you or bring to mind what someone was saying yesterday
Yeah.
about the agency of the youth in, say, building peace
Yes.
and bringing about reconciliation?
Right.
Because sometimes we take them to
Oh,
be
yeah,
just
yeah.
recipients,
Exactly.
and we forget that they
I
can
like that.
really participate as full agents
Yeah.
about what we're trying to do to
Yeah.
achieve. Yeah.
It made me remember like there was this in the early 1990s we received a book from the World Bank. Sorry. We received a book from the World Bank and it's entitled Voices of the Poor. But now I think appropriate title for a lot of our undertaking would be Voices of the Youth. Because we really need to know what they have in mind.
Yes.
And we cannot just simply put them aside
I hope
just because they're young.
I hope the world is paying attention to these voices.
I know.
We can talk about the voices of the poor, the voices of the youth, the voices of the migrants.
Exactly.
But no one is really listening to their stories. No one is saying, hey, these are human beings. They are not just labels or etiquettes that we place on them.
like that, yes.
And we relate to them just in a very shallow manner.
Yeah.
How can we initiate that conversation?
Right.
Especially our commission, which is really focusing on peace and reconciliation.
Right.
Reconciliation with what? Humanity, God,
God.
creation.
Yeah.
This is what we expect our university to do.
True.
But, it's just unfortunate that sometimes we pass very quickly.
Right.
And the words, the concept that we use, it's just a fashion. It's a trend. And then we forget
Yes.
that. And this is why the talk this morning was very critical.
Powerful, yes. I agree with you.
We need to
Yeah.
reach that level of depth in thinking and not simply reproduce knowledge.
Right.
Because there is a whole current of knowledge that comes from the past, from big scholars like yourself.
Like yourself.
But then, because we wanted to sound very scholarly, we forget that we really need to give a very unique stamp, like cachet, following the most urgent needs of our own time, of our own context, of our own societies, as we try to transform the world together. Right?
Well, on that note, I think we can get a cup of coffee.
I agree.
Right.
Let's grab a cup of coffee.
Okay.
And you have your conversation
I have our
Me too.
upcoming
Me
conversation.
too,
So
me
good
too.
luck to
Yeah.
you, Tizan.
Thank you. Enjoy
Okay.
yours.
I'll see you later.
Nice talking to
Okay.
you, Alma.
Okay. Bye.